California, 2025. Beneath the gleaming tech towers and along forgotten industrial streets, a hidden crisis spreads through the Golden State. The number of lived-in vehicles on San Francisco streets has risen from 474 in July 2024 to 612 in June 2025, a 29% spike in just 1 year. Meanwhile, nearly a quarter of all unhoused Americans live in California, with 2/3 sleeping outside, the highest percentage in the nation. This isn't a lifestyle, this is survival. In this video, we'll expose the 5 dominoes crashing California's vehicle dwellers into an impossible system, reveal why a single tow can destroy everything, and show you the proven solution.
Already working elsewhere.
Stay until the end. We'll walk through the roadmap
That could transform this crisis.
But first, let's be clear about what we're witnessing. The hidden crisis. Let's define what we're talking about. Vehicle homelessness is not van life. Van life is choosing Instagram sunsets and remote work Wi-Fi. Vehicle homelessness is Wayne Gardner, 58, watching his home of 20 years roll onto a flatbed tow truck, scrambling to grab his pressure washing tools before losing his income source forever. California houses more than 187,000 homeless people. But hidden within these numbers is a rapidly growing population living in cars, vans, and RVs, falling through the cracks of traditional shelter systems. Unlike other states where vehicle encampments cluster visibly, California's vehicle dwellers scatter across industrial zones from Oakland to San Diego, staying mobile to avoid enforcement sweeps. The terminology matters. Unsheltered means sleeping outside without shelter. Vehicle dwellers live in cars and RVs. Safe parking provides legal overnight spots with services, something most California cities currently lack. And enforcement zones are areas where cities actively tow lived-in vehicles. But understanding this crisis requires seeing the system that created it. 5 dominoes are falling across California, and each one makes survival harder. The dominoes. Domino 1. The affordability avalanche. California's median rent has shattered the survival threshold. When a 1-bedroom apartment in San Francisco costs $3,200 monthly and Los Angeles averages $2,800, people making $15 to $20 per hour face an impossible equation. A used RV for $25,000 starts looking like the only housing option within reach. The math is brutal. California workers need to earn $35 to $40 per hour to afford average rents without being housing cost burdened. But when paychecks can't cover rent, the next domino makes everything worse. Domino 2. RV parks. Price out. Survival. Traditional RV parks within driving distance of California jobs charge $80 to $150 per night. That's $2,400 to $4,500 monthly, often exceeding apartment rents. These facilities increasingly cater to wealthy recreational users, not people seeking affordable housing. Meanwhile, budget options impose impossible rules: no vehicles over 10 years old, mandatory insurance, and 30-day maximum stays, forcing constant relocation. For someone living in a 2010 Class C RV, finding legal parking becomes a full-time job, consume fuel they can't afford. And when legal options vanish, the law starts a countdown clock. Domino 3. Enforcement creates impossible math. California cities deploy parking regulations that weren't designed for people living in vehicles. Most areas prohibit overnight parking or impose 72-hour move requirements. San Jose's pilot program bans oversized vehicles in certain areas, towing 19 RVs and 45 other vehicles since January. But here's the catch. 90 days after enforcement, in 38 zones containing 1,175 vehicles, 671 had returned to those same locations. The enforcement creates an expensive shell game. Carlsbad expanded its camping ban to include vehicles, charging $100 for first offenses, $200 for third offenses, and $500 for subsequent violations. When people can't pay tickets, vehicles get impounded, but towing storage fees often exceed the vehicle's value, making recovery impossible. And when legal parking disappears, the next domino brings danger. If you're realizing how California's system traps people in this impossible cycle, hit subscribe now to stay informed about solutions that actually work. The final domino we're about to reveal shows why enforcement without alternatives literally destroys lives across the Golden State. Domino 4. Infrastructure abandonment. Living in a vehicle in California means no legal access to electricity, running water, or waste disposal. People rely on gym memberships for showers, fast food restaurants for Wi-Fi, and auto parts stores for battery charging. Waste disposal becomes dangerous improvisation, gray water dumped in storm drains, human waste managed in portable toilets that can't be legally emptied. The health impacts accumulate fast. Generator fumes cause respiratory issues. Constant movement disrupts sleep and medical care. Social isolation intensifies from the stigma of vehicle living. California's climate extremes, from Central Valley heat waves to coastal fog, make vehicle living increasingly dangerous without proper infrastructure. When survival itself becomes uncertain, the final domino makes everything catastrophic. Impact. Every evening becomes a risk assessment. Well-lit areas attract police attention. Dark areas invite crime. Industrial zones offer fewer complaints, but no services. Residential neighborhoods provide amenities, but generate the complaints that lead to tickets and towing. Valerie Vallejos has lived in her van for 3.5 years and was forced to evacuate Columbus Park during San Jose's largest homeless encampment sweep. Each move costs fuel she can't afford, disrupts any routine she's built, and increases stress that affects her ability to work and maintain her health. Vehicle homelessness accelerates health deterioration through multiple pathways. Limited space creates muscle atrophy and joint problems. Poor ventilation causes respiratory issues from generator fumes and mold. Irregular access to facilities disrupts hygiene and medical care. Mental health deteriorates under constant surveillance anxiety. Medical emergencies become crises when you can't provide a stable address for follow-up care. Medications requiring refrigeration spoil during power failures. Sleep deprivation from enforcement anxiety reduces immune function and work performance. California's extreme weather compounds these dangers. Central Valley summer temperatures exceeding 110 degrees Fahrenheit make RVs deadly without air conditioning, while coastal fog creates dangerous humidity levels inside vehicle. Winter storms flood low-lying parking areas where vehicle dwellers cluster, forcing dangerous relocations during severe weather. The healthcare system struggles to serve this population. Emergency rooms report vehicle dwellers presenting with advanced conditions that could have been prevented with regular care. Diabetics like James Rodriguez lose thousands of dollars in insulin due to power failures. Elderly residents like Rosa Martinez skip medications due to the stress of constant relocation, disrupting pharmacy relationships. Sanitation creates cascading health risk. Without legal dump stations, gray water disposal becomes environmental contamination. Portable toilets require expensive servicing that most can't afford, leading to unsanitary conditions that spread illness throughout vehicle communities. The economic impact extends far beyond individuals. San Jose offered residents $2,000 for their RVs during enforcement sweeps, often a fraction of the vehicle's value to the owner, but an acknowledgement that towing costs exceed simple solutions. California's enforcement approach creates expensive inefficiency. Each tow operation costs cities $500 to $800 in processing and storage fees. When owners can't reclaim vehicles, cities pay additional disposal costs, averaging $1,200 per RV. Meanwhile, the same money could fund safe parking spots for 4 to 6 months. The displacement economics are staggering. Los Angeles spent $3.2 million clearing RV encampments in 2024, but 67% of vehicles returned to nearby locations within 90 days. This expensive whack-a-mole costs $4,800 per vehicle annually, enough to provide safe parking with full services. People spend 15 to 20 hours weekly managing parking compliance instead of working. Unreliable sleeping conditions reduce job performance by an estimated 30%, according to employment counselor. Lack of stable addresses complicates employment applications, banking, and accessing social services, trapping people in economic precarity. Healthcare costs multiply as vehicle dwellers use emergency rooms for routine care, costing taxpayers $8,000 to $12,000 per visit versus $200 for preventive clinic care. Mental health crises increase, requiring costly psychiatric polls and interventions. To broader economic impact compounds as cities deploy additional police resources, courts process thousands of parking violations, and social services handle increasingly complex cases requiring intensive intervention. San Francisco estimates vehicle homelessness enforcement costs $18 million annually, 3 times what comprehensive safe parking programs would cost. What works? 3 models have proven effective in addressing vehicle homelessness, with measurable outcomes California cities could implement immediately. Model 1. Safe parking programs with comprehensive services. Cities like Seattle, Santa Barbara, and Albuquerque operate safe parking programs providing legal overnight spots with security, restrooms, and case management. The metrics are compelling. 90% of participants move to permanent housing within 6 months. Programs cost $25 to $35 per person per night versus $200 plus for emergency shelter. The model works through rapid intake. People access safe parking within 72 hours versus weeks-long shelter waits. Services are co-located. Case managers, healthcare, mail services, and job counseling operate on-site. Housing navigation is integrated, helping participants secure identification, apply for benefits, and transition to permanent housing. Model 2. Vehicle Triage Centers. Albuquerque's Vehicle Triage Center processes 40 to 60 RVS monthly, offering immediate mechanical repairs, waste disposal, propane refills, and mail service, plus housing placement assistance. Results show 75% successfully transition to permanent housing within 90 days. The triage model recognizes that vehicle homelessness often reflects mechanical or administrative problems, not just housing lack. Fix transmission issues, help register vehicles, provide legal parking, and people can maintain employment while seeking housing. The center costs $180,000 annually, serving 600 plus people, $300 per person versus $3,000 plus for emergency intervention. Model 3. Master lease lots with housing first integration. And on-site services, providing immediate relief while participants work toward permanent housing. Successful programs share key metrics: legal parking within 72 hours, government IDs secured within 30 days, caseloads under 25 participants per case manager, and 85% plus retention at 24 months. Programs meeting these metrics achieve 65 to 80% transitions to permanent housing within 1 year. California's vehicle homelessness crisis reflects deeper policy failures spanning decades. The state's regional housing needs assessment requires cities to plan for housing, but enforcement remains weak. Meanwhile, environmental reviews under the California Environmental Quality Act can delay affordable housing projects for years, pushing more people into vehicles. Governor Newsom's homelessness initiatives allocated $24 billion since 2019, yet vehicle numbers continue rising. The disconnect reveals funding flowing primarily toward traditional shelter and permanent supportive housing, while vehicle-specific interventions receive minimal resources. California's Homeless Coordinating and Financing Council doesn't even track vehicle homelessness as a separate category, making targeted solutions nearly impossible. Local zoning laws compound the crisis. Cities zone against affordable housing through exclusionary policies, then criminalize the resulting homelessness. San Francisco's planning code restricts RV parking to industrial zones, but simultaneously allows luxury developments that displace low-income residents. The contradiction forces working families into vehicles, then punishes them. Or existing. California's AB 2342, proposed in 2024, would have created statewide safe parking standards, but died in committee after opposition from cities fearing liability. Meanwhile, cities spend millions on enforcement that Republican Assemblymember Vince Fong called criminalization theater, visible action that doesn't solve underlying housing shortages. The legal framework creates impossible contradictions. California's vehicle code allows overnight parking in vehicles, but local ordinances override state law. Constitutional challenges argue these local bans violate equal protection, but litigation takes years, while people suffer nightly. Model 4. Regional coordination systems. Beyond individual city programs, regional approaches show the greatest promise for California's scale. The Bay Area's Regional Safe Parking Collaborative, launched in 2024, coordinates 12 cities, sharing resources and best practices. Participants can access services in any member city, reducing the whack-a-mole displacement between jurisdictions. The collaborative costs $2.8 million annually, serving 400 POS vehicles, but generates $8.2 million in healthcare savings by providing consistent care access. Emergency room visits among participants dropped 74% after 6 months, while employment rates increased 43% due to stable parking reducing job search barriers. Regional systems solve California's fragmentation problem. When San Jose enforcement pushes people to Oakland, regional coordination provides seamless service continuation rather than starting over. Shared databases track progress across cities, preventing people from falling through administrative cracks. During relocations, California's vehicle homelessness receives minimal federal support because HUD definitions lag reality. The federal point-in-time count classifies vehicle dwellers as unsheltered, but funding formulas favor traditional shelter programs. Vehicle-specific interventions like safe parking don't own the many federal homelessness grants. This funding mismatch forces cities to choose between serving people in vehicles or accessing federal dollars for traditional programs. San Diego's mayor, Todd Gloria, called federal definitions 20 years behind the crisis. But bureaucratic change moves slowly, while California's vehicle numbers explode. California could lead by redirecting existing homelessness funding toward vehicle interventions, but political pressure favors visible shelter construction over parking lots. The optics trap prevents effective resource allocation. The math is undeniable. California spends more criminalizing vehicle homelessness than solving it, with homelessness affecting 187,000 plus Californians and vehicle numbers rising 29% in San Francisco alone. Current enforcement isn't working for anyone, not for people living in vehicles, not for communities dealing with informal encampments, not for taxpayers funding expensive systems that don't reduce homelessness. The solutions exist: safe parking programs, vehicle triage centers, and master lease lots have proven track records. Mobile shower units, portable sanitation, and modular case management can deploy within months. Federal community development grants and public-private partnerships provide funding mechanisms. What's missing is political will and public understanding. Here's what you can do. Contact your city council member about safe parking pilots. Share this video with someone who thinks vehicle homelessness is lifestyle choice. Help them understand the systemic forces creating this crisis. If you work in city government or social services, push for data collection on vehicle homelessness so we can measure the true scope. The people living in RVs and vans across California aren't choosing this lifestyle. They're surviving an economic system that priced them out of housing, but not out of hope. They deserve solutions treating them with dignity while addressing practical challenges. Until then, remember, behind every parked RV is someone trying to survive in a state that's forgotten how to house its own people. Subscribe if this opened your eyes to California's hidden crisis. The solutions exist. The question is whether we'll choose to implement them.